Oh my god.
HP, Finesse gets it, Ye does too, Divide in a 1v3 to close out the half. Almost gets two there, he does manage to get the first. Couple members weak, no, not like this. Divide!
Oh my god, okay, OpTic throwing. OpTic try not to throw challenge. Impossible, impossible! So today we're going to find out how PRX managed to beat OpTic and make it to the grand final. I thought that they played very well in the series, definitely looked like the better team and the team that deserved it. And if you are an OpTic fan who's going to watch this video, this is not going to be pretty viewing because they make a lot of bad decisions. And they got absolutely stomped on this map. They actually won the first pistol, as you can see, it's 2-1 currently. They're going to lose this map 13-3, and they got absolutely stomped. But let's take a look, and we'll start with this round, round number 4. And what's kind of interesting about this round, I'm not sure it would have actually specifically mattered for this round, but I think it just goes to show maybe some of the disconnect that was going on within OpTic during this game, where Ye actually hasn't bought a trap. He's bought an up and he's bought light shields, as you can see. That's 5,100. You can see he spent 5,200. So I'm guessing the other 100 is in a headhunter bullet as well, and he can't afford the trap, so he hasn't bought one. And that's, you know, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's okay, right? Like, it's a decision you can make. The thing is, though, their setup doesn't make any sense with that in mind, right? If you were going to have a chamber with no trap, you probably want him on A, where he can just watch all of this and, you know, you keep someone there early on in the round to try and secure this control, and then he can just watch it, and then you can have, you know, the other players here watching the other lanes as well, and then you should be good. The trap, you know, isn't super necessary in that instance. But for whatever reason, maybe it wasn't communicated, I don't know what was going on here really with OpTic, but they decided to go with this setup, which again, doesn't make any sense if you don't have a trap, right? You can't just leave Garage completely undefended with no information whatsoever of what's going on in this kind of setup. You know, you just can't have 3 players on A here if you don't have a trap. Like, and I'm not sure if this is Ye's fault or if it's like a setup fault or whose fault this is really, but it is a problem. Now, as I said, in this specific round, what PRX are going to do means that I'm not sure it would have actually affected the round itself, but I think it just goes to show some of that, like, you know, what was going on with OpTic, where they just seemed like they were all playing their own game at times and, you know, just not talking. And this is like an example of that, right? Because what we're going to see is Forsaken, and this is going to be a theme as well early on. He's just going to walk in through Garage, and he's just not going to stop, right? They actually do double smokes here, do PRX, you can see. So if there was a trap here, for instance, right, it wouldn't have made a difference because it would have been smoked off and they wouldn't have known either way. So in this specific round, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. But the thing is, it's just like that level, that kind of, you know, communication that wasn't there. And you'll see that Forsaken, I mean, we're what, 10 seconds into the round, he's already in Garage window, right? Ye TP's back here, I think, after he misses an op shot, and he dies straight away. Right, so we end up in this terrible situation for them straight away again, and PRX just exploits some of OpTic's setups, and they would continue to exploit some of these setups from OpTic as well. And now Marv, I mean, look at it, he's in a terrible position now. I mean, you know, if you look where the opposing team is, this is not where you want to be, right? They could come from here, they could come here, they could come here. This is not a great situation, and everyone else is on the other side of the map. So he's in a really tough spot, but he actually makes the right choice. You have to push one of these areas if you're in this situation, right? So he decides to push Garage. This is perfectly fine. Unfortunately for him, though, Jing is just in the smoke first and manages to get that kill as well. Then FNS is going to try and pick up the up and save it, but he dies as well, and then it's the end of the round. And this kind of thing, though, this was just what was happening to OpTic. You're going to see in some of these later clips as well, it was just completely disjointed. And PRX, don't get me wrong, they played very well, but my God, some of the decisions that OpTic made were pretty horrendous, I'll be honest, and just like, you know, that setup doesn't make sense with what they had available to them in that round. And again, I'm not sure if that's a communication issue or what's going on, but PRX seemed to be able to punish it quite a lot. These two are eventually just going to save, and there isn't much to this round. They actually try and go for a ninja defuse, but there isn't quite enough time there, and they had an astrosuck for it anyway, I think, as well. There it goes. So yeah, they didn't quite manage to pull that one off, but we see that OpTic overall, it wasn't great. Let's come to another example, round number 6. What's going to happen here is, again, Forsaken's just going to run up through mid, and in the first 10 seconds is going to end up like on B site. So what's happening is Jing is spamming this door, and he sent his boombot in there as well, okay? You can see that they've smoked this off as well, and there goes Forsaken. He's just walked up, right? They force Ye to TP away as he gets spammed on this angle, and here's Forsaken, and he's now just in B, and you know, with 10 seconds, 15 seconds into the round. And so what they're going to decide to do here, PRX, is eventually, you know, this is a free kill. They know they have a free kill waiting. Basically, it's just, you know, where do they want to go elsewhere. They are going to decide to come towards A. They send out this Prowler that, you know, somehow doesn't see Victor tucked in this corner. And so Forsaken starts making his way across A link there. Victor is going to manage to get one, but Jing trades it out pretty well, and we end up in this situation. Then Forsaken finally does get his free kill. The thing is, they don't know about Crashies yet, right? He's still there, and he's still on the site, and they don't quite know about him. Marv actually goes for the ult as well. So Crashies catches Jing as he's not ready, but Forsaken, now knowing that he's there, is able to get that kill, and then we end up in this 3v2. Yeah, he's going to try and catch a timing. He is in a 3v2, so I understand, and he actually does catch a pretty good timing, but obviously this is a bit of a risk, and so he can only get one. And then we end up with Marv in a 2v1, and PRX play this pretty well, where they're just going to group up, come together, go into hell. Marv is going to try and TP, and I think he's hoping to see someone at this point, but he doesn't, and so he gets a bit, probably thinking that they have just gone to either short or long, right, and that they're there. So he doesn't know where they are at this point, and eventually he's just going to come towards the bomb, but they peek out of hell and manage to find that last kill as well. And now let's come to round number 10, where we're going to see some more questionable decisions from the side of OpTic, as you will see, as we're going to get a bit of a quick A play here from the side of PRX. And actually, OpTic, you know, weren't really on A. It was just FNS on his own. So you see he's going to get spammed with utility here, where he gets slowed, he gets sucked, he gets prowled. It's really nice. But you have Ye holding this angle here. The problem is Ye's decision is about to, I mean, they're on a save this round, so, you know, they were unlikely to ever win this round. But his decision is an odd choice, I would say, overall, because what's going to happen is Crashy's about to send a flash up over the top as they're starting to come in with this fade ult. So you can see the flash comes up here, right, and it blinds a PRX player, but it also blinds Ye. But Ye's reaction to this after getting fade ulted and you know, blinded by his teammate is, instead of, you know, retreating into the smoke like you might expect, he instead is going to decide to push. And this is going to be an interesting decision, is what I would call it. I know they are on a save, so, you know, taking risks is fine, but this, I think, might be a bit too far, because what's going to happen is, because he manages to come out here and he actually manages to survive somehow for a couple seconds, that means that his teammates in Victor and Crashies think, oh, Ye's on the site, so we have to go, and so they end up pushing without using utility as well, and they'll just get mopped up, as you're about to see, because Ye, as I said, he does manage to survive for a couple seconds. He managed to find the timing to run around the box, but, you know, he's just an absolute dead man. Forsaken gets that one, and now Victor and Crashies, as you can see, have just come running through as well, right? And also have, you know, kind of no idea what's going on. Again, they are on a save, but, you know, they're just running blindly through a smoke. It goes about as how you would expect. FNX gets caught by the C's there. Forsaken, nice little cross-eye placement, knowing what FNS is going to do, and obviously in a 5v2 at this point, it's already round over. And then if we run this a bit quicker, we are eventually going to get the ace. This is when the crowd was all screaming for the ace, for Forsaken to get it, and eventually he will get it as they start to break their own wall. Devi does the right thing and starts just, you know, jumping around for his teammate, sees where Marv is, and Forsaken is able to get the ace. Now let's come to round number 11, where some of the similar themes are going to play out somewhat. This is going to be one of OpTic's more, you know, successful retakes, but they're not actually going to win the round. Benkai just slightly misses the wall, and so, you know, they did this little wall into blastback thing, quite a cool little idea. They did actually manage to see Crashies, but Jing couldn't really shoot from that angle. So they did see he was on that angle, though, and they start to make some presence towards A, as you will see. And they get Forsaken tucked up into this corner here. And he's just going to stay there, right? He actually gets stunned. They flash out as well. They peek out. They see that nothing's really there. And then we're going to get some spam towards the door here of, yeah, you see that Jing starts shooting the door. And so OpTic's reaction is to leave the A site, thinking it's completely clear. But as you can see, Forsaken, again, is just walking up on A as they are leaving. They really kind of exposed OpTic for kind of, you know, over-rotating or, you know, not really having full clearance on areas. And so you see that they kind of full rotate, but Forsaken is already deep in onto the site. They smoke it down, which gives them a bit of a clue that they are coming here. But Forsaken is going to manage to get his free kill there. Then he is kind of ready for someone to be here, but Crashies is just tucked in enough to where he thinks that he won't be there, and Crashies gets one back. Now, Crashies, thankfully, it was kind of the first time that someone from OpTic did this, decided to wait for the rest of his team to actually try a retake. So you see he's just waiting for his team there. And does the right thing, but I want you to watch some of the utility usage from PRX here. Is really, really good, and it ends up actually winning them this round. what they're about to do. So a flash has just come through here and Benkai got hit by it. So he throws down the Sage Slow, right? So they can't really retake when there's a Sage Slow here, okay? So that's kind of the first stop for them. The Sage Slow stays for, 7.5 seconds or whatever it is, and it's going to stay there, but then in comes OpTic, right? In comes Flash, in comes Stun, they're ready to come in. They're going to flash from the sky here as well. This is like their chance to come in, but what we're going to get is a really nice Astra Suck into Nade. Yeah, you can't come through there, and here's a Fade Horn as well. You aren't coming in right now, right? So now, this means that OpTic kind of have to just dry take with no utility, right? You look at the util they have left, it's just Marved with 2 Shrouded Steps, right? So now they're just going to have to jump in, and OpTic do manage to make, a decent use of this, as you will see as they start to come in and trades start flying back and forth. Divide does manage to get 2. We end up in this situation where Ye's in a 2v1, and he does start to hit the defuse, but Mindfreak is coming now on the big flank. He doesn't manage to quite get it to half, and so he doesn't quite have time to get the spike defused there. And you see again from PRX, really nice. Their util there was insanely good to delay that, right? And that util won them that round because that retake, had to take some time. And now let's come to round number 12. The first thing that PRX are going to do is do this little double recall smoke to allow Forsaken to cross. Quite an interesting idea. But then whilst that's going on, what we've got is Victor here. He's pushing down mid, and he's actually going to catch off Benkai just there, as you see, and get the first kill. And then Ye actually manages to find Mindfreak as well, so we end up in a 5v3. Now, 5v3, what happens is Victor decides to put up his wall here. We also have a flash to make sure there's no trade of Victor, but for whatever reason, he decides, no, I want to throw, and he decides to keep pushing. I have no idea why. This is such a bad decision, I honestly can't tell you. He's just hopping around there, dies to Divide, no idea what he's doing, and we end up in this 4v3 situation. Don't know why he doesn't retreat. He had, his wall to try and retreat, Marv flash for him to try and get out as well. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, we end up in this situation, and actually they decide to do kind of the right thing here, where they kind of are playing retake C, retake A, right? 4v3. Take your chances in that scenario. Correct decision. And as you can see, PRX do decide to come towards A, and they are going to get the spike down, as you see here. But they're going to get caught off a bit here, as again, the retake isn't like super coordinated, as you could see. Crashy sends in a flash. The stun does come in, but Marv is still quite a bit away yet, and so Crashy ends up going quite a bit before anyone else is really ready. Then Jing actually gets his ult as well, and so he ults, doesn't manage to quite hit anyone. The C's comes in as well, and then for some reason they aren't aware that Jing could be in this corner. He starts spamming, he actually loses that fight, and Ye actually manages to find Forsaken as well. We end up in a 3v1. You would think this would be unlosable, especially considering what happens next, because this is a 3v1, and then he swings out, and so now they know where he is, and he didn't get a kill from that, did Divide. So 3v1, you know where this guy is. This should be unlosable. Not for OpTic the way that they were playing on Haven though, because what you're going to see is I'll just pause it here, right? This is a great little freeze frame. Marv's coming this way, Ye's coming this way, FNS is reloading. You couldn't be more discoordinated in one moment if you tried, right? Just in that split second, you've gone from like being a tight-knit group, knowing where he is, and then all three are doing different things. FNS is kind of waiting, Marv is pushing one way, Ye's pushing the other way, and guess what happens from here? Marv dies, runs in on his own. Look, these guys are so far away from trading. I mean, look at the spacing between these two as well. It's horrific. Ye dies, and then FNS comes back as well, and also dies. It was horrific, and this was just what OpTic were doing in this game, to be honest. It was pretty bad, and that was probably the worst moment of all. And now let's come to round 15, and the reason that PRX also just outstratted OpTic on this map, they comp diffed them as well, because they decided to put Benkai on the Sage, and this was a really genius idea, I thought, particularly because OpTic are known for these very fast C takes, right? This kind of take here where they get the Neon into Garage very early, the C take, it's very difficult to stop. But a Sage basically stops it in its tracks completely. And this happened in the round before as well, where Benkai just put down a Sage slow, and that was like, well, OpTic tried to do their kind of famous C hit, and it just completely got stopped by one Sage slow. This time they're going to go for a kind of a variation of the same play, where they are going to go for this C hit again, but this time what you're going to get is the Neon running all the way back here. Somehow, and I really don't know how, because I'm not sure I've seen OpTic do this. I've seen XSET do something similar, but I don't think I've seen OpTic do this, to be honest. And FaZe have done something similar as well. Mindfreak's got a star here already. this is almost genius from PRX. This is like pure genius, as you will see. So it starts off, also this stuff as well, starts off with a C's nade here. Instead of in here, which is where it normally is, they put it here. The reason that they put it there is because the Neon could get to there at that time. Again, little things like that. PRX, they're a genius team. You know, it's not just, oh, they out aim people and stuff like that. They are really smart and really well prepared, as this round shows. So here come OpTic, right, where they get this neon wall across here. They're going B, and they get pressure in towards Garage. The problem is, though, you know, yes, the neon is here, and I think, honestly, probably would be better if Victor came this way instead of going this way, which is what he does. But you know, he does try and go this way, but he's just, again, disconnected. And again, we're just going to get Sage Slow. This is actually PRX's bonus, so Benkai only has a Spectre. But literally, again, just one Sage Slow kind of completely destroys them, as you will see, because as Victor is trying to come in here, Benkai is just, they're just walking into him one by one, and he's killing them with a Spectre. But you can see this smoke from Mind Freak. Again, just look at how ready he is for this, right? He just knows instantly that's going on. Benkai hears the Sage Slow, right? It's just destroying them, even with a Spectre. Mind Freak then picks up perfect timing to come out of this smoke and get this kill. And now Victor, who is kind of the big danger in this round, you know, yeah, he's on site and he does manage to get the first kill, but Jing finds Ye as well with the Spectre, and then we end up, you know, in a 3v1. And again, this is against a bunch of Spectres, and they swing out, and Jing manages to get the final kill as well. And PRX would go on to win this game, and they very much deserve to win this game because they were by far the better team on the day. This map was pretty horrific from OpTic on the whole, as you kind of saw. Obviously 13-3, the scoreline kind of shows that as well. And, you know, I think, again, if these teams met again and OpTic played even close to what they did on this map, you know, I mean, if they played anything close to on this map, they get completely destroyed. But they really need to step it up on some of their maps if they want to beat PRX. And honestly, I think PRX will just be the favorites because they just look better than everyone else.